As promised, I'm going to be making a video talking about some of the cracks in the system that I'm beginning to see that I believe are going to lead, now again, I have to preface that by saying that I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure this is going to lead to some very angry people within the Chinese society and possibly a lot of civil unrest. So stick around. Thanks for sticking with us. So as you can see, I'm walking through the fields again, as in some of my old videos out here in rural Anhui province. If you hear any birds squawking in the background, there are these birds that have nests in here, and for some reason, well, obviously I'm a giant creature to them. They see me walking around and I think they believe that I'm a threat to their nest, so they just fly around hooting and hollering, and so that's what that's all about. They're just upset that I'm walking around out here. Anyway, and it's very, very hot at the moment. We're coming into summer now, and you can see I'm just surrounded by rice paddies that are full of water. And so I feel like I'm inside of a rice cooker on its highest temperature at the moment. It just feels like a miserable steam bath. But anyway, back to this unrest that I see coming and its relation to the new Chinese social credit system. I think I made a video way back when talking about some of the new things that were going to be coming into law and into practice regarding the social credit system, but I think now it's especially hitting hard with the Chinese people because, well, the economy is not doing well despite all of the numbers and the news to the contrary. Things are really going bad, and I've started to see signs of that. But before I get into that, let's talk about some of the penalties that they have put into place. Apparently, they are not satisfied. Let's say you default on a credit card here in China. In the United States, well, you know, that sucks. You're the one that's responsible for it, and it's going to mess up your credit, and you're still going to have to pay it back at some point. Here in China, it's going to result in you being blacklisted, which means your money will be seized out of your bank account. You'll no longer be able to travel anywhere. You'll no longer be able to do anything. You're just going to be stuck. You'll become basically a non-person. And you know, okay, so they're going to be really harsh on people that borrow a bunch of money and don't pay it back. Well, guess what? They're not satisfied with just going after you. They're going to go after everyone connected to you. All of your entire family. They say for several generations. The Chinese people online are calling it, you know, like, they're not just going to kill you, they're going to kill 9 generations of your family. It's an old practice that they had in Imperial China. Well, they're bringing it back for this. So they're pretty upset because, you know, let's say you're going along and you're doing great in life and you've got a black sheep brother or something, and, well, they totally screw everything up, and they, you know, they default on some credit cards or their house loan or something, and guess what? Suddenly you're blacklisted. You've done everything right, and now the government's coming after you. Yeah, that's what the new credit system does. Let's say you're totally loyal to the party. You know, were part of the Communist Youth League when you were in school and all of this stuff. Guess what? Your family members, they posted some stuff online, they're coming for you. Your entire family, generations, children of parents, grandchildren, whatever, they're coming for you. I'm not sure how many generations it goes, but I do know if your family messes up, if your friends that you're connected to mess up, they're coming for you. And that's pretty bad. And I know a lot of has been said online and on television about this sort of thing, but it's just now coming into practice, and the timing is so terrible. So awful. I see storm clouds on the horizon. First cracks that I saw all happened during the lockdowns. I knew that a lot of businesses would not come back, and you know, it used to be that when I drive up and down the streets here in China, if I'm in the city or somewhere, every space would be open with some kind of business, and I'd kind of forgotten what it was like back during the Great Recession in the United States to drive to downtown or something and just see all these boarded up shops and all these signs saying that they're for lease. That's what it looks like now. I go into some of the cities in Jiangsu province or out here, and I just see closed down shops. Everywhere I look, it's closed down shops. A lot of them, they didn't make it through the whole lockdown. The government here didn't really help. I know there have been reports that they help, but they're not helping, believe me. Some of my favorite restaurants didn't open back up, and some of the places did open up. They came back, but business didn't return. And they'd already taken such a hit that now many of them have gone out of business. And, well, to make up for it, they've been trying to sell their houses, but nobody's buying houses. They're selling houses. They can't, they're just being brought to the brink of total economic collapse on a personal scale. And, you know, that was the first signs. Then I started to hear about some of the larger businesses, because I've dealt with some of these lens manufacturers for eyeglasses and that sort of thing. Their overseas sales collapsed, and that's what they do. They do export. They export to places like India and the United States and Europe, even South America. But now the orders stopped coming in. So they got rid of like half of their workers, and the rest of them, they told they had to take a pay cut. And I think that's gotten even worse since then, because the government just said they had to continue operations and production, and well, how long can that really last if you have no money coming in? That was the second thing I saw. Now, well, second or is that third? Whatever number it is. Yeah, things didn't look good, but I still saw that things were kind of continuing as normal, you know? People have these ETC cards they put in their car, you know, at the toll gates. They can just drive through and it charges their credit card. You have to have a credit card attached. And, you know, everything was going on as normal. But then, just lately, I started to notice something. Before, I was seeing a massive increase in the number of people using those ETC cards. And now, nothing. They're all going to the gates with the person, and there's just one or two people going through the ETC side. Well, now you're probably saying, well, so what, you know? What does that mean? Well, it's attached to your credit card. So at some point, and this is what I started to see, if your credit card is maxed out, then your ETC card stops working and it won't let you go through. So that was the first thing I saw, was people trying to go through, and then this red light comes on and says they can't go and they have to back up. And I started to see that more and more, and now there's just nobody going through it. It's just one or two people here and there, and everybody is going through the lanes with the person, and it's massively backed up. And that tells me everybody's got their credit cards maxed out. It's a really bad sign. So yeah, I see that happening. I see more and more businesses. I've talked about coming to China to work at English schools, and I know there have been a lot of jobs posted. Don't go for those jobs, because those schools are about to go out of business. They're promising you the moon because they're desperate. And now they're going under right and left. Some of the big chains, there was one called Disney English. I don't know if that was a copyright infringement on their part or not, but yeah, Disney English, their entire thing just went under. They're gone. Yeah, these schools are closing right and left. The people that own the schools are selling houses, doing whatever they can to try and keep their businesses afloat, and it's just falling apart. I'm seeing signs everywhere. People are massively in debt, and they have no way to pay for it. Their businesses are gone, their jobs are gone, they're getting paid less money, and that leads me to another of the signs that I've seen, that things are very, very bad, and we're seeing storm clouds on the horizon. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you've probably heard me on more than one occasion lament the loss of the night markets here in China. They were great places to go to get something to eat or just buy random stuff. And the government went crazy and said it looked bad to have all these street vendors and stuff out, so they got rid of all of it, everywhere. They were almost non-existent. And, well, just recently, the government came out and said, you know, okay, you can sell stuff on the street. It doesn't even matter. If you just throw a blanket out on the road and throw some stuff on there to sell, you can do that. And you probably heard me in another video talking about how, oh, that's great, you know, in a way. I hope that the night markets are coming back. Well, they haven't come back. The street vendors came back. There's lots of people selling junk on the streets everywhere you look. But nobody is buying. Now, that's a desperate sign of the government. They know they're in trouble. They know the economy is collapsing, and they know that there's a bunch of people that are about to be very angry when they're told they can't even do that. They can't even go out to sell stuff, and they can't get a job, and they can't take care of their family, and no one's helping. So they relented, and they said, okay, come back and sell stuff on the streets, but it's not working because nobody has any money to buy stuff. So I see people selling things everywhere, but I just don't see anybody buying. Even back in Jiangsu, I saw people selling stuff within the community walls. You know, it's a gated community, but they have people selling stuff just out on the pathways walking around, and I'm just shocked to see it all, but again, nobody's buying. I'm seeing these signs of credit problems. There's a guy that I know that owns a school in Jiangsu province, and well, he's pretty much vanished. I expect that there's some bad stuff about to come down on that. But going back to what I was talking about with the social credit system, this is automated. So all of these bad things I talked about where they're going to go after your family and people are going to get blacklisted, this is going to happen on a massive scale because, well, people, you know, when you don't have income, they've turned to their credit cards and borrowing money, and now it's all, you know, they're about to hit the wall. You know, that can only go so far. And all of this stuff is just going to start happening. And when it does, I just imagine the Chinese people are going to look around and they're going to say, okay, that's it. You idiots running this show have caused all of this, and they're not going to be able to stop it. I'm not an expert, but that's what I see coming. There's going to be massive unrest. The people are going to say, okay, I've lost everything. I've got nothing left to lose. Now I'm coming out to say what I think. And you'll probably see greater sympathy for the people in Hong Kong. It's going to be quite a show. I say a show. It's going to be terrible, actually. I've spent all this time in China, and I really wish that it wasn't coming down to this, but that's what I see. And I'm not an expert, but I'm seeing the signs as I'm making my preparations to escape from this nightmare. I'm seeing the signs. It's going bad. Oh, and the virus too is back. I don't know if you've been following the news, but Beijing is having quite a little outbreak. I know in the last video, a couple videos ago actually, I mentioned that, you know, they had a little outbreak. Well, apparently it's a little more serious than that. They have several epicenters. It's out of control. That's all there is to it. They're saying it's under control, and they're praising their massive testing, which is really strange to me. It seems that they're taking something out of the playbook of the United States government and praising their testing abilities, but if there's nothing there, then what's with the testing? Yeah, they're giving numbers, but the numbers are just ridiculous. They're all fake. Last I heard, some of the leaders in the Communist Party have left Beijing. It's sounding pretty bad. It sounds like it's coming back with a vengeance, and I don't think the Chinese government really knows how to contain this thing. If they did, then the rest of the world wouldn't have gotten infected, right? But it's sounding pretty bad. Starting to worry me. What's going to happen? As soon as I go to leave, they're going to be like this massive outbreak in China, and people will start saying, nope, if you're coming from China, you can't come in. I'll be like, oh, no, not again. But let's hope that I make it, that the window, I barely make it through the window, or, well, hopefully not barely, but let's hope things work out. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing here on the ground in China right now. It's not looking good. Not looking good at all. I see unrest coming. All this stuff that they've been laughing at the United States for the protests and the riots, well, like a fire, it's going to spread, and it's going to spread everywhere. And it's coming here, and I see it coming. And when it does, it's not going to be the same as the United States, where a few people go out and start looting or causing trouble. It's going to be massive. And it'll be interesting. That's what I see. It probably won't happen. I'm not an expert, but, well, I say probably won't happen. I think it's going to happen. I think there's going to be some unrest. I think there's going to be some serious problems. We'll see how harsh they crack down on people when it does come down to it. But anyway, those are just my thoughts. I guess I'll get this thing put together and get it uploaded while I can, while I still have functioning internet. And, well, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll see you guys in the next one.